It included a pledge to not raise taxes, furthering of his commitment to make New York open for business. Governor Cuomo also reaffirmed his commitment to revitalizing the upstate economy, working off a successful Regional Economic Development Council model. The governor believes in providing New Yorkers from every corner of the state the opportunity to hear his agenda firsthand. Today I am pleased to welcome Brian Stratton, who is Director of the New York State Canal Corporation. Mr. Stratton was appointed Director of the New York State Canal Corporation in April of 2011 to oversee the operation and development of New York's 524-mile canal system, including the historic Erie Canal, which I like to ride my bike on quite often. It is beautiful. Prior to joining the Canal Corporation, Brian Stratton was a brother of the brush. He was a mayor of Schenectady. He was first elected in November of 2003, and he was re-elected to a second term in 2007. During his tenure, Mayor Stratton successfully identified and corrected the city's serious and inherited financial problems, returning Schenectady's municipal credit rating from the lowest in New York State to investment grade, including a sustained A- rating by Standard & Poor's. During his 7 years as mayor, he worked with local leaders to attract more than $300 million in new private investment to the city of Schenectady, creating and retaining more than 2,000 jobs. I personally know Brian and worked with him as a mayor and as a member of the New York State Conference of Mayors. He truly was a dynamic leader as a mayor of Schenectady, and he's a dynamic leader as the head of our Canal Corporation. And it's with great pleasure that I introduce him to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here today and for bearing with us while we get the technical bugs worked out. Mayor Hogan's absolutely right. I know that Cornell is struggling to get the IT capabilities up to full snuff. I'll be more than happy, Mayor, to take that message back to the great governor. It is an honor to be here in Hornell. I have not been to your lovely city since I became the Canal Corporation Director nearly 2 years ago. The canal is just a bit north of here. We had an historic canal that connected, I believe, Seneca Lake to Keuka Lake many years ago. But the New York State Canal is an economic engine, and it's 524 miles long. It generates some $380 million annually in direct tourism spending. I'm also honored to have been introduced by New York State's longest tenured mayor anywhere. Mayor Hogan is in his 24th year, is that right? 28. 28! It only seems like 24. It's not by so fast. And you are absolutely blessed, because I know what a tough job being a mayor is. And I served just a little over 7 years, a mere child compared to Mayor Hogan's terms, and Schenectady is a city of about 65,000 people, and it really doesn't matter. One thing that I found when I was mayor is that it doesn't matter if you're a city of 10,000 or 65,000 or 600,000. Every mayor has got the same challenge, whether it's police, whether it's overtime, whether it's pensions. So they're tremendous challenges. It's just amplified or reduced on the scale. So I am so happy to be here today to give you the governor's budget and state of the state. I'm one of several cabinet members who are out all across the state in the weeks following the budget, which was presented just last week in Albany in the governor's State of the State message. I'm sure the mayor was there on January 9th. It really sets the tone for where the state is, where we've come, and really what our spending plan is for the coming year. And as you know, under the governor's administration, we've made tremendous progress. And so we're going to talk about that, not only what the governor's vision is, but what the spending plan is, highlights of it as we go through, and I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you might have. The core elements John, are we doing okay? New York Rising is a theme that the governor has given not only to the budget, to the state of the state, not only for how the state is rising from the economic challenges, but also, of course, what we've done to recover as a state from the tremendous damage that was brought by Hurricane Sandy. The governor's budget is based on 4 critical elements, 5 actually, to continue to attract good jobs and economic growth, continue fiscal integrity, ensuring that we have a world-class education system, and to restore New York State as the progressive capital, and to rebuild our state following Hurricane Sandy and also tropical storm and superstorms Irene and Lee, which hit particularly hard along the canal system and in the Mohawk Valley and in the southern tier 2 years ago. For the 3rd year in a row, Governor Cuomo has made economic development his top priority. Under economic development, the governor's agenda includes a number of elements to strengthen the state's economy by harnessing the power of our research universities. We already know New York State is a leader in research, but more needs to be done to generate new technology companies that will be the job generators of tomorrow. And so the governor's economic plan focuses on harnessing the power of our research universities, whether that be the U of R, Binghamton University, and others throughout the state. We do very, very well in attracting research dollars, number 2 in the nation, $5 billion, second only to California, but we don't do as well as we could in attracting investments, private investments, to the technologies and the companies. So when it comes to generating venture capital, New York State is only attracting 4% of the nation's venture capital compared to California, which is attracting 47%. New York State ranks 22nd in the nation for fostering industry-sponsored research compared to North Carolina, which is number 1. And so the first step in that is what the governor wants to do is to create technology hotspots. These will be 10 incubators set up throughout the state that can support the next generation of high technology companies. 5 will be designated in 2013, and 5 more next year. These will be supportive environments that will provide companies that are in them with one-stop services, including legal and accounting support. And the state will invest through its $50 million venture capital program fund in these companies. These will be set up and also generated through the regional economic development councils. And of course, as you know, the southern tier, including this county, has done very, very well through the Regional Economic Development Council program. So we're hopeful that that success will transfer to generating more high-tech companies. Innovation New York Network is to also connect to speed the commercialization of new technology by reforming regulations around intellectual property and other regulatory barriers to connect high technology experts with high technology companies. There's also a great effort to reform, next slide, the unemployment insurance and the workers' compensation laws in the state to provide economic relief for New York's employers. For the past 4 years, New York State has been forced to borrow from the federal government to cover unemployment insurance costs. As a result, employers have been saddled with a $3.5 billion debt. Governor Cuomo has proposed to reform the unemployment insurance system through a variety of measures to reduce debt and to save businesses $400 million over the next 4 years. And the governor is also proposing a series of reforms to lower workers' compensation costs to employers by approximately $900 million. So that's not only good for private sector businesses, it's also good for municipalities too. The governor also wants to ensure that New York State is a green technology leader, and he has proposed to extend the New York State Solar Jobs Program at $150 million annually for 10 years to increase the installation of solar panels at homes and in businesses. A $1 billion green bank will also leverage public dollars with private match to spur a clean economy. And the governor wants to promote the Charge New York program to spur electric car fleets and the installation of electric car charging stations. So Mayor, that might be a good thing for Cornell. The Next Generation Job Linkage Program. There are currently 210,000 unfilled jobs in New York State. And to fill these jobs, the governor wants to create linkages between the community colleges and job needs locally. This is already being worked out well and working well through both Monroe Community College and Finger Lakes Community College. Finger Lakes Community College offers a state-of-the-art viticulture and wine technology program capitalizing on the region's wine industry to provide training necessary to pursue a career in viticulture. So really taking the jobs that are going unfilled and being able to train the workforce to be able to train those jobs. In my city's Schenectady Community College has also got a similar program that helps to train workers for the GE plant locally. We know that in upstate New York, job growth lags far behind the state, far behind the nation, far behind downstate. We saw figures over the last 10 years between 2002 and 2012, where upstate job growth has grown on an average of 5%. And compared to New York State as a whole, where it's grown 11%, 16% in New York City, and 9% in the U.S. And so a way to address that, one of the ways is to begin, can you back up, John? Are we having some problems with that? Market New York program is really designed to bring what the I Love New York program has brought to tourism to really market regions. And so the governor is planning to bolster the Market New York program to really promote upstate New York and things that it has to offer normally. One of the first things is the Market New York program, and that is to really sell New York State products in duty-free stores throughout the state, along the Thruway and in other locations. So the great things that we know here in our state, yogurt, New York State produced yogurt, beer, wine, cheeses, would be sold tax-free, duty-free, primarily applying to the alcoholic beverages in certain stores. And really create a larger market for New York State produced businesses and products. New York State will also hold a regional marketing program, a $5 million regional marketing program to really promote upstate New York as a great place to live, work, and to vacation. And so again, working with the local tourism industries and also the regional councils, the Southern Tier, the Finger Lakes region, we can market New York State, and the winner will receive $5 million. We certainly know we have so much to offer here. The governor has also promoted and talked about promoting national level challenges. And we have a tremendous whitewater rafting attraction in the North Country, and that is one of the things that the governor would like to see more of, so people all around the world, all around the country will come here to look and to participate. Mayor, one of the divisions that he's talked about putting in those rafts is a political division. And so I don't know what the nuance is there, but maybe that's something you want to be in a ref and come over and we'll help you with it.
We'll consider it.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on. Tourism, resort, casinos, and gambling is another major part of the governor's economic plan. As you may know, we took the first step last year through the legislature. They made the first vote for full-fledged casino gambling. That will be followed by another vote this year, and if that passes, then there will be a public referendum. The governor wants to move forward with phase 1 to designate free casinos in upstate New York. We already have racino gambling and other gambling throughout the state, but we don't have the full economic value of full casino gambling. So there are 17 facilities already in the state. We are also surrounded in neighboring states and in Canada. All of the dollars that are spent in those other states and to the north could be spent here and help to generate more tourism and local economic growth. And so the governor has proposed the New York State Casino Gaming Plan. Phase 1 will start with 3 casinos, all in upstate. It is estimated that those 3 would generate $150 million in revenue statewide. That would be split 90-10, 90% going to education funding, $15 million for local governments to use to offset property taxes. So that's a statewide distribution, not just to the local area where the casino is. Also, a centerpiece is to continue with a third round of the regional councils. And as you know, in round 2, a total of $738 million was dispersed statewide. Here in the Southern Tier region, the Southern Tier Council was voted one of the best plans. It received a total of $91.1 million to fund 62 projects. That included $7 million for the construction of the Southern Tier High Technology Incubator, a collaboration between Binghamton University and the regional economic community, $3 million for the expansion of Corning's manufacturing facility in the town of Irwin, $2.5 million for the Southern Tier Telemedicine and Mobile Healthcare Technology Fund. We know that the budget has been a flashpoint over the years, up until the governor coming into office, for dysfunction. We had tremendous debt. Budgets weren't passed in time, and so the governor's goal, of course, is to have the third consecutive budget passed on time, balanced, with no new taxes, no gimmicks, and no borrowing. You can see here that had we not done the proper work that we need to do over the past 2 years, that New York State's budget gap, which right now, before the budget is passed, stands at $1.3 billion. If we had not done the hard work 2 years ago in closing a $10 billion gap last year, and a multi-billion dollar gap, $10 billion gap two years ago, and a multi-billion dollar gap last year, that instead of a $1.3 billion gap, we could be looking at a $17.4 billion gap, and then going out, of course, into the next 2 years, where the budget deficit next year for 2014-15 is expected to be just over $2 billion, and instead would be nearly $21 billion. So these are good things. And while, of course, we have our work to do, and I'm going to show you how the governor intends to close the $1.3 billion gap for this year, we could be faced with a far more severe challenge. And so how do you close the $1.3 billion debt that we have? Well, we do it through the ways that we see over here. Over $400 million will be cut from state agency spending. Over $400 million will be cut from local assistance. Nearly $130 million and more efficient management, and $300 million saved from the workers' comp measures that I just spelled out. And if we do the math, that adds up to $1.3 billion. Education, of course, is another major part of the governor's budget. I am happy to report that education is one of the few areas in the budget which will actually see an increase in the proposed spending plan. Formula based aid will go up by $611 million, fiscal stabilization funding $203 million, and state-of-the-state special initiatives will add another $75 million. That's a total of $889 million in new spending, or 4.4% growth. And again, the governor's budget $300 per student more this year, for the coming year, than in the current year, is one of the very few areas in the state where you're going to see growth. And certainly the governor knows that in order for our state to be a more competitive state, we need to be able to invest in education, not only to invest in our children, but to invest in jobs and to keep good quality jobs here and to keep our children educated. He is certainly quoted from Education Secretary Arne Duncan that he believes that one of the best ways to increase learning and to increase school performance is to lengthen the school day or the school year by voluntary choice of the local school districts, but which New York State will certainly pay for, should the school district want to extend its day. And here are the statistics. In Korea, which spends 205 days per year in school, Korea ranks number 1 in reading, number 1 in math, and number 3 in science. Canada, which spends 190 days in school, ranks number 3 in reading, number 5 in math, and number 5 in science. But the U.S., which spends just 179.9 days in school, currently ranks 14th in reading, number 25 in math, and 17 in science. And so the governor wants to do more. He wants to begin by promoting full day kindergarten, rather than kids going to pre-K, full day pre-K, rather than children going for 2.5 hours to go at least 5. And studies show that those that go to full day pre-kindergarten perform better. They're more likely to graduate high school, less likely to need to repeat a grade, and less likely to be arrested as a juvenile. Again, the governor wants to support growing pre-K from 2.5 hours to 5 hours today, and begin with the financial support in the lowest wealth school districts in the state first. He also knows that we need to support teachers and to increase the admission standards to really ensure that we have the very best teachers teaching. He's proposed in increasing admission standards for those teachers entering into the teaching world, and to propose a bar exam that teachers would have to pass in order to become certified. The governor's teacher evaluation program has worked exceedingly well, which was enacted and passed by the legislature. So far, to date, over 99% of the school districts in the entire state, 700 plus of them, have passed an accepted teacher evaluation program. Only 1% were the New York City schools, the Buffalo City schools, and 1 or 2 others have not. And as a result, as of January 17th, they gave up a combined $175 million in extra aid. So the deal was that you had to have your teacher evaluation plan submitted and approved no later than January 17th, 2013, or you would miss out on the 4% aid that's in the current budget. And again, the same thing goes for the aid, the 4.4% in aid that is proposed for this budget, if the 1% of schools up there do not have a teacher evaluation plan in place and approved by September 3rd of 2013, they will again sacrifice that. The governor also wants to award high-performing teachers, master teachers, and he wants to do that by supporting those teachers that perform best by giving them a $15,000 annual stipend for 3 years. These are master teachers, not only to reward for their performance, but to use them as mentors to teach other teachers. And this is based on highly successful programs like the Math and Science America program, currently working in the New York City area. Community schools are another way to support education. Community schools not only teach our children, but they provide the essential support services primarily in high-needs inner urban areas. These are schools with all-inclusive support services, providing health, employment, after-school, and other services. And again, they are similar to other successful models. Part of the governor's plan is also to continue on New York State's progressive agenda. We began last year, of course, with the Marriage Equality Act. This year, the governor wants to propose raising the minimum wage. As you can see here, if you are a minimum wage worker working 40 hours a week at $7.25 per hour, you would make approximately $14,616. And if you look at the expenses that you would have to pay for just normal things like housing, child care, auto insurance, gas, minimum wage barely cuts it. We know that we are surrounded by other states who have either raised the minimum wage or are at or near where we are, but of course the governor is strongly supporting to have a higher minimum wage. And so he has proposed raising the minimum wage to $8.75 an hour from $7.25 per hour. The governor also wants to go beyond the Marriage Equality Act and has proposed a 10-point Women's Equality Act, which would shatter the glass ceiling to impede equal pay, create a zero tolerance for sexual harassment, strengthen employment, lending, and credit discrimination laws, strengthen human trafficking laws, end family and pregnancy discrimination, and protect a woman's right to choose by enacting the Reproductive Health Care Act. Public safety. Public safety has been a large item. It's been certainly in the news. As we all know from the terror headlines from around the country and certainly locally, Webster, on Christmas Eve day, 2 first responders killed, 20 children killed. The governor and the legislature, I believe, on January 15th, enacted the SAFE Act, the Safe and Fair Guns Policy Act, which keeps guns from people who are mentally ill, and have the strongest assault weapons ban in the nation, close the private sale loophole by requiring federal background checks, enact tougher penalties from illegal gun use. The Webster provision, named in honor of the fallen firefighters, a mandatory life sentence from using a gun to kill a first responder. And of course, this will exempt hunting rifles. This is not about taking guns away. This is really about recognizing that there is no genuine need for assault weapons or high-capacity magazines. If you want to learn more about what's in the bill, you can log on to nysafeact.com. Going on to mandate relief, and things that I'm sure the mayor will be interested in, really every citizen in our state, finding our arbitration. In police and fire, you probably have it here right now. Police and fire unions, previously a city's ability or inability to pay for a kind of contractual raise in police and fire has not been allowed to be used as a reason not to award the contract. But under this law, if a city or a municipality is deemed to be in fiscal distress, the award or the raise would be capped at 2%. So I can tell you that when I was a mayor for 7.5 years, we were always fiscally challenged, and yet when you could not agree with the firefighters union or the police union and the contract went to binding arbitration, the judge would generally award an increase based upon what was given around the state or what is given nationally, regardless of the city's financial circumstances. And so this binding reform arbitration process will cap that at 2%, which is a tremendous benefit. Pension costs are also going up. You can see the cost in both the employees' pension system and in the police and fire retirement system pension increase over the past 10 years. Roughly the cost for pension has risen 1,000%. What was $190 million in contributions to support those pensions in 2002 has risen to $2.2 billion. What's your pension contribution here locally?
It's estimated to be next year about 1.4, 1.5 million.
And what was it back in 2000?
Well, it was actually 1%. It was 1/10 of 1% of payroll, which was unusually low. But now it's 28%, 28.9% of payroll for public safety, and about 23% for ERS. So you can see it. So if you have a payroll of $5 million, just take another 30% of that, and that's take 30% of that, and that's your pension bill.
I was mayor from 2004 to 2011, and I was on the city council in Schenectady from 1992 through 2000. And I think when I first got on the city council, our total pension contributions that may have been excluding police and fire, it was small. It was less than $500,000.
Yeah.
My last year as mayor was like $7.5 million. So, tremendous growth. So that is why Governor Cuomo proposed and the legislature passed last year the new Tier 6, which establishes a far more efficient public employee pension program. The governor has proposed under this budget to allow municipalities to begin realizing the eventual savings that will come from Tier 6 now, to be able to use those savings now. And that will dramatically reduce the amount of pension programs, pension costs. So Mayor Hogan can save a lot here locally. I know that he supported it.
This is a very interesting proposal by the governor. We've been each time they have the pension spikes due to the economic downturns, one after 9/11, and this one we all know the fiscal falling off, number one, in 2007 and 8, which caused the pension fund to diminish in value. And how they do it now is that they have actuarials. You have to make up from the point where the pensions dropped, and they assume, not only do they assume get back to where they were, but they also assume growth in that. So that's how they determine your pension payment, and it's based on it like a 5-year average. The governor has proposed what I think is a very fair and balanced approach of locking into a reduced rate now. This Tier 6 kicks in the future, the rates would drop substantially because the benefit packages in Tier 6 are a lot less, and it extends when a person can retire. So when that happens, the rates would fall substantially low. What the governor is saying is take advantage of those savings out over the next 20 to 25 years, and you're going, when the pension rates drop below the 18.9% like that, you'd continue to pay until you were caught up. But this proposal the governor proposes would save the city of Warren Island just next year in excess of $500,000.
There you go. You can see here by the yellow line at the bottom that the percentages are a percent of a municipality's total payroll. So instead of paying under the teachers' retirement system, the school district, and it were to opt into the pension Tier 6 savings financing plan, it would be 4% rather than 11.8%. In the employee retirement system, the center column, it would be 8.9% versus 18.9%. And of course, the most expensive, police and fire, instead of 25.8%, it would only be 10.4% for a period of 10 or 15 years. Again, as a predictable, stable payment in order for the mayor and for any municipality to be able to do the other things that they need to do. The next chart shows sample cities from around the state and the savings that they could incur were they to opt into this. And again, it is a voluntary program. It's what works best for you. And again, if Syracuse were to opt in, it would save $12 million. Rochester could save $21 million. Buffalo 19, Yonkers 21, Albany 8 million. And as you just heard, the mayor, you could save $500,000 now. Tremendous. The next phase of the presentation involves building back after the tremendous damage brought downstate by